Alright, I'm just gonna be myself, maybe.
Yeah. I have to get situated. I can't. Hi, Din.
Hey, Lindsay.
I have successfully managed to bring Din back for a YouTube video. He has agreed to come on again.
Yeah.
And we got a ton of questions since we announced that we were engaged.
Yes.
And people have been asking. I have a list of questions that we're going to go through and answer. But the biggest question that we've gotten is, how did you know that you two were right for each other? Like, how did you know he was the one? How did you know that she was the one? So that's what we're going to answer today.
Yeah, that's right. Excuse my awkwardness on camera.
I think you're pretty good.
All right. Yeah.
Well, do you want to start? First of all, I should say I have made a video already about how I knew I was dating the right person after toxic relationships, bad relationships. So I'll put the link to that in the description here. But I will say that I actually don't believe in the one, meaning that there's just one person out there who can make you happy, fulfill you. And so I feel like there's many people out there that could make me happy, but I have chosen you.
Uh-huh.
And I'll be really, really honest and real. I don't have this sense of certainty, like, this is the relationship that's going to last forever. Like, I just know it. What I feel right now is you are the person that I want to be with, and I'm happy right now. And every day I wake up and I still want to be with you. Like, I feel like I'm choosing you every day. And it doesn't feel like how it felt for me in the past, where I felt like I was being pulled into relationships by unconscious kind of forces. It feels like every day I'm like, I check with myself. Do I still want to be here? Yes, I do. Every day the answer is yes. I still want to move forward. I'm still happy. I'm still excited to do life with you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the answer that people are expecting or looking for, but that's my truth, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like rationalist, and it's not like the most romantic, but I think it's just practical. And I think more mature love is a bit more practical and just realistic, if you could say.
Sorry to interrupt. We should say that Din is a therapist, so he knows what he's talking about. This is not just some random guy that I found off of the street. Din has training. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a fair amount of training and experience. Yeah, just like different couples that I see, and the emotions are important, but like emotions go up and down, left and right. And like at the end of the day, the relationship just has to work. Like practically, you have to love each other. You have to just want to go in the same direction. Like, I think there's just a lot that's very practical about love. And the actual love part of it is just, I think, all the stuff that you want to do that's special for your partner or other people that you love, that is just more than you want to do for random people that you don't know.
I know we sound very like unromantic, and but I mean the truth is, like, I feel a lot of love for you, and it's, yeah, I would call it, it feels much more mature. I like that word that you used.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to sound judgy, because, you know, like, it's like, oh, mature, and then immature is like a pretty judgy word. Like, I don't mean it like that, but just to kind of describe, like, I've gone through all these different stages in my love and relationship journeys with different partners, etc. And this relationship and like the calmness of our appreciation, our love for each other, for me, it feels the healthiest. It's the most stable. It's the most I've been willing and able to give to a partner, in terms of time, effort, energy, and all these other things. So yeah, I mean, I think this is at least how I see it as being the most helpful, the best for me.
Yeah, and as far as like, if people are asking, well, how did you know? I would say it just feels like you're the person I want to do my life with, because we have been, like, we've been living together for a while, and it works. We have the same values. We want the same things out of life. Like, I'm by far the happiest I've ever been in a relationship, and like I feel very loved and appreciated by you. I mean, he works really hard to be the best that he can be in our relationship, and I do too. And so yeah, it feels just like a choice. And here's the thing, like a person, I've gone through divorce, and so like I don't have this naivety anymore that I used to have, like, oh, we get married and it's gonna last forever, because I know sometimes we go in with the best intentions and it doesn't work out like that. And so we're not getting
I'm just
but
laughing.
do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm just laughing because of how when I was younger and when I think I had just more unprocessed stuff, I was more like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being romantic, but I think there's certain fantasies that I had in my head about like romance, my life in general, and it's almost like a part of my life I was living in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, and I was trying to make my life match what was in my head, as opposed to now it feels like we're just enjoying life out here in like the physical realm, more so than just what's going on in my head.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say too. Like in the past, I was like, oh, it's going to last forever. Truly, how I feel at this point is like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know. I know that you and I are going to try our best, and we're going to do the best we can to make it work. Who knows what's going to happen to us? Like, honestly, you're going to change, I'm going to change. I hope that we change together. But I'm kind of in this place right now where I'm just accepting that this is the life that I want now. We're choosing to get married now, and I have no idea what's going to happen. And that actually took me a while to make peace with, because I wanted that certainty. That was actually why I got married in the past. Like, I wanted that feeling of like, oh, this is gonna be the person I'm with forever, and it didn't even happen. So for me now, yeah, I'm less wanting to be with you for that certainty. It feels more like, no, I just really like you. I just really like you. I like the life that we're going to create and we are creating, and that's the decision I'm making now.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is not romantic, but I really like
We're so not romantic. I swear, you guys, we do still like do romantic stuff.
Yeah, there's romance and a lot of love, but like, so I really like Layla and Alex Hormozy.
Oh yeah, he does.
We're like two business YouTubers / like very successful entrepreneurs, and they talk about their relationship too. And what I like about one part of their discussion on it is they talk about choosing the partner over and over and over and having more reasons to stay than to leave.
Yeah.
And that kind of, to me, takes out like these feelings of guilt. I need to stay with this partner because I feel guilty or obligated or any of those things. It's like Lindsay and I and people in general, like, we're all okay. Like, we're all okay people. Our lives will be okay without each other, but we want to be with each other because it's a choice. It's like, it's nicer to be in partnership. Yeah. And I think it's nicer to be in partnership with Lindsay than somebody else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's it. Yeah. It's actually, like, when we break it down like that, it's not super complicated why we chose each other. It just kind of works. And yeah, like I was saying, and I've talked about this a lot in other videos. Like, for me, my past relationships, they felt more unconscious. Like, I just kind of got pulled in, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm just falling in love, falling into this relationship where I'm in love with you, but it's different. Yeah, like I said, it feels just much more like consistently choosing to be here versus like, I don't even know why I'm here. Like, yeah, I have feelings for this person, but we're not getting along. We don't have that much in common. This is more aligned, I would say, for me.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what qualities were you looking for? Because I know you spent a while... Sorry. I know you spent a while being single and really thinking about, like, the type of partner that you wanted. What did all that introspection tell you about yourself and the kind of relationship that you wanted?
I kind of dated a variety of people. My 20s were really, I was just trying to search for the right partner. And so I kind of let myself experiment and date every type of different person that I was interested in, and as well as like every type of person physically that I was interested in. And so, little story, like my first real serious committed relationship was my college sweetheart, and we actually got engaged. And she was the first person that was a really kind person that was really interested in me, and we got along really well. Ultimately, it didn't work out because we wanted different things in our lives. She really wanted to have a family, and I just wasn't sure about that. And then throughout my 20s, I dated the conflict was between feeling really attracted to very kind, nurturing types that just want to hang out, talk, get to know each other, and grow in intimacy with each other. And then I attempted to date like various women that were very adventurous and were always on the go and like were very exciting, charismatic. But the women that I dated that were like that, they weren't really interested in like getting to know me and really settling down and building a relationship together where we're just hanging out and building a life together. And it took me a while. Like those two poles were both pretty equally exciting. It wasn't until I felt pretty burned after dating one of these women that I fell in love with emotionally. But I realized that it just wasn't for me because all she wanted to do was explore and be out there, and she didn't really want to connect intimately. And so I spent a couple years single, just thinking about really what I wanted. And at that point, my standards had kind of gone up. Like I didn't really want to date somebody that didn't feel like the right fit for me. Like I kind of felt like, oh, I finally feel ready to stop dating around, and I wanted to have like a relationship. And then so yeah, a couple of years into that, I met Lindsay, and and I would just describe it as there's just a significant sense of contentedness. I think, I mean, with Lindsay, I feel like a sense of knowing that this is the right relationship for me. So it is kind of like this intuitive thing, but it's not quite as emotional, like all these hormones. Oh my God, I'm so infatuated with this person. That happened at the very beginning.
Yeah.
But now it just feels like a sense of home, which I think is nice. You know, it's just you kind of wake up every day and you just feel very settled.
Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty normal to be like have infatuation at the beginning, but then as time goes on, yeah, you feel more settled and calm, and just the person feels like home. Yeah, I would say that's how it feels for me too. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's all we had to say about that. Let me answer some other questions that we got. I'm going to pull them up here. How did you both talk about wanting kids or not early on in dating? Do you want kids? Ooh, good question. Well, I'll start with that. So we have decided we're not going to have kids, and we did talk about that very early on in dating because I came into the relationship knowing for sure kids are not for me. And so that was a deal breaker for me. And so pretty early on when we started talking, I asked it, like, what do you want to do? Do you want kids or not? And I really made it a thing as of like, hey, like if you want kids, we can't move forward because that's where I'm at. Yeah. So yeah, like I want to say within maybe like the first couple weeks of talking, maybe even less than that. Do you remember?
I don't quite remember, but yeah, it was right at the very beginning.
Like very early.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you remember how we talked about it?
I think you're just like, I don't want to have kids. And
I think I was pretty, yeah.
So if we're going to do this, like we have to really make sure. And, you know, Lindsay's always kind of been curious about it as like each step of a relationship has progressed, because we've been dating for like almost 4 years now. And so, you know, like something that I think about with regards to relationships is if both of you guys are growing, which, like I think that's like a good thing, each person will have more repressed unconscious material come up to the surface. And then that's a new thing to contend with, because like that's a new part of aliveness within you that you're unlocking. And you're going to see the world slightly differently. You're going to kind of like unlock new things, new desires, whatever. And I think it's good in relationship to, once something new comes up, to be able to go to your partner and be like, hey, there's this new thing that I think I want. Let's talk about it. And then you kind of like negotiate and talk about it and explore it. And it's kind of like a stressful period in the relationship, because there's a possibility that from that point you might split. But I think that's what makes like relationships even stronger, is if you look at all the things on the table and you still recognize, okay, this is still a better option for me than splitting.
Yeah.
And that's how it's kind of felt like with the kids thing. Like right now, I'm kind of very interested in having a dog. I talk about it a lot.
He does.
Internally, I don't quite feel ready to have like that responsibility, just, to not be able to travel as much, etc. But yeah, I mean, so like, I guess it's just similar to the kids thing. It's like, maybe one day internally I'll uncover something that's like, oh my God, I want a kid. But I think that's life. Like, because I think Lindsay and I will be okay without each other separately. And if we have to restart our lives or whatever with somebody else, like, that's just life. Like, you don't know what's unconscious to you.
Yeah.
But to be full and alive with each other, you have to just meet each other, I think, as openly as you can in the moment.
Yeah.
And what comes. But like right now, there's no indication that I want a child, but I'm also I'm also not going to repress that possibility if that surfaces from deep down.
Yeah. I appreciate you being real about that. Cause I do. I do check in every once in a while. I'm like, okay, how you at with the kids? Like still feeling like you don't want that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the thing. Like I talked about before, like going through divorce, it really opened my eyes to the fact that I have no idea how I'm going to evolve and change, how you're going to evolve and change. And I would really love to talk more about how the endings of relationships don't have to be so, like there's such a stigma around divorce, and there's such a stigma around relationships ending. Like we feel often like we failed and like something went wrong. But the way I see it these days is no, like if you're a person who's growing and changing, like you said, like we hope that we are, because it's good for us. It's healthy for us to do that. We don't know who we're going to change and evolve into.
Yeah.
And to just be more okay with the fact that, yes, if a relationship ends, it's okay. It's not a failure. It means it's just you're just a different person and you want something different in the future. And like I think it's actually a really awesome thing to do. Now, divorce and breakups can be really painful and difficult, but ultimately I can say I'm much better off now being in this relationship with you and ending my previous marriage, because I'm a different person now, and this is just what works for me now. So yeah, good points. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting points of view about divorce and the ending of relationships. I mean, but especially divorce. There's a religious component. I mean, I think, so Lindsay and I were both just like kind of spiritual.
Non-religious. Yeah.
Yeah, we're non-religious, spiritual, agnostic, probably not atheist, but...
not me.
Yeah, I think I'm agnostic, but... So I know in certain religions, it's not okay to divorce, because your marriage isn't just between you two, it's with God is there within it as well.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like that's a topic of debate. I'm open to different perspectives about that. I'm not quite sure what the answer is. But at least from my point of view right now, I think, I don't know, I would assume God would want you to be happy. And, like if you outgrow somebody, or someone's like really unhealthy and they're just not willing to grow, and it's jeopardizing your life, your children, or if, it's just not working in some very significant way, I mean, I think it's a really interesting conversation, so I'm open to it, but that's kind of where I'm at right now with that.
We'll have to make another video about it.
Yeah, or maybe like have somebody on that's
an expert.
Like more religious or something that can share their point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like the difference between me in this relationship and me in the past is me in the past when I was married, bringing up the idea of divorce. Like we're talking very openly about like what could happen in our relationship. I never did that in the past. I was too afraid. It was like, oh, can't go there. But again, like after going through the breakdown of a marriage, I'm very open about like the realities of life and the fact that like we're gonna again do our best to be together, and we hope it does. But I love the fact that you and I can talk like honestly about like, hey, there could be this thing that comes up where like you want kids, you decide one day you want kids and I don't, and what would that look like? Like what would we do? And I actually like I feel much more safe in this relationship because we are talking about it. I actually feel less likely that we will separate or anything or break up because we can talk openly about it and work through it. And if that is what happens, it's okay. I would miss you, but yeah, like it's we're able to be more honest with each other, and like I said, that makes me feel more secure in our relationship rather than like not ever going there because I'm so afraid to even bring it up.
Yeah, it's kind of like an exposure therapy or something.
Yeah.
Because like by keeping it like taboo to talk about, then you can't. I feel like it kind of keeps you a bit like trapped or locked in a place in your own mind where you can't even explore different aspects that are true to you. Like if you're unhappy about something, it becomes harder to even bring it up with your partner. Because I think a part of the strength of a healthy relationship is knowing that you'll be okay if you're not with them.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps you put up with less crap. Like,
it's true.
You know, if your partner's not treating you in like a kind or compassionate way, or something's not working that's significant for you. I mean, just think about my clients, like thinking about all the midlife crises and all the relationships that, you know, even a lot of them, they can work and but it had to come to a point where they were so exhausted and sick of the situation that they're in that they're finally going to be honest about what it would look like to not be together. And then that was the catalyst to have the conversations that they needed, you know, in order to grow for each other.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to have it not get to that point for whatever. Because, I mean, like, we can be real. Like, we've had talks about what it would look like to break up and not being together. And, yeah, like, we had those conversations and we made the changes we needed to. And I think we're stronger.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, they're, like, really stressful.
I mean, it's not pleasant.
There's varying levels of stress, for sure. But, like, I don't know. I think the more of them we have over time, the more it's, like, it feels calmer. It feels like, okay, no, like it's almost like if you think about like a bell curve.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like spatially oriented. But if you think about like a bell curve, like a lot of what you discuss is within like the first or second deviation, i.e. like the middle part of the bell curve. And then as the relationship goes on, I think, and you talk about like more and more things, you start to move to the edges of the bell curve. So like smaller and smaller areas that are left unturned in the relationship. And so it kind of feels like the more conversations we have about compatibility and stuff, it feels like it's becoming more and more minor and our sense of fit is becoming more and more solid. So instead of feeling like, oh, it's 90% it's like, no, like there's like a 99% likelihood that this is like a very solid relationship for us.
That's a really amazing analogy. We hadn't talked about it like that before, but yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. The more we actually talk about breaking up in times where we need to explore that. Yeah, you're right. It feels like we don't even talk. We'll like maybe talk about it for like a minute, and then we're like, oh no, this is actually this is where we want to be. Yeah.